Hi, everybody. Dr. Maria Sampoulos. I'm here with Dr. Glenda Moheeputh today. Hi, Doc. How you doing? Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Maria. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I wanted to have you on the show because you're doing great things at Walmart. We're displaying the corporate optometry myths out there, and you got a great myopia management practice at Walmart in Florida. Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about that.
So I 2017 for Nova South University. And very luckily for me, my first job out of optometry school was in Saratoga Springs, New York, at a very high scale practice that did myopia control. So when they hired me, it was a short term, job. It was supposed to be 6 weeks, but I really enjoy working with pediatrics and I wanted to do ortho K. So I ended up staying for almost a year over there. So I was going to move to New York actually, but the day I was going to sign a contract, they called me from Walmart and said, "Hey, are you done with school? We have a store for you." So for people that don't know, I do have a long history with Walmart. I started working with Walmart as a sales associate back in 1999. And I worked with Walmart, pretty much performed every role in the optical. So I was the sales associate, I was the tech, then I got promoted to a vision center manager. And after being a vision center manager for a few years, I realized that if I wanted to grow with this company and in this field, I needed to get my license. So I went to school, became a licensed optician, and I just really liked the field and I love learning and decided to go all the way and become a doctor. So I really liked. I left. I started with Walmart as a sales associate, and then I was able to come back one day as a doctor. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think it's great. How long you been at this sublease?
I've been here 2 years, 2.5 years. It's actually going to be years in August.
Nice. And then when I heard that you're doing myopia management in a Walmart, I said, I have to interview her because she's doing great things. And I hear you have a big myopia management practice in Florida, and Walmart encourages it, wants you to grow it, wants you to do more of it. Let's talk about that because, a lot of doctors want to get into specialty in corporate setting and they feel like they can't or it's not recommended, but corporate wants you to succeed. They want you to grow. Tell us how you approached it and worked it with Walmart.
So you are in a corporate setting, and again, I am in Walmart, Inc. So I can only speak from my experience and my relationship with Walmart. I don't know how the other corporate work, but Walmart, it is 100% open. I mean, they encourage us ODs to perform to the maximum level of our full scope of our practice. I initially was a little hesitant. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it in Walmart. I knew I wanted to do myopia management. And one day was really one of my patients who they were like, I just want to do it. They didn't want to wait. So they were willing to do anything and everything in order to start ortho K. So I said, you know what, let's do it. I sent them somewhere else to get topographies done because I did not have a topographer at the moment. So I started doing it, and then Walmart, one of my managers came in, and I was like, "Oh my God, look what we did!" I get really excited. I still get excited whenever I get an ortho K patient, and that next day follow-up visit for me is like, I can't sleep. I'm like, "Oh my God, how are they going to be tomorrow?" So I got really excited. I asked my manager to come over, and I'm like, "Look at this!" And then I shared with them, this was their prescription. This is where they are today. They got really excited, and then my manager told my market manager, and everybody was just really excited about it. They wanted to learn more. They didn't know, or about ortho K. So when they heard what I was doing, I actually had someone from home office reach out to me, and they said, "We want to feature you in our Foresight magazine." Because they were very proud and they wanted to get the word out and say, yes, you can do myopia management in Walmart. So I was extremely proud. Of course, they asked me if I wanted to do the article, and I said, of course. So they did the article, and they followed up with me, and we actually did the follow-up of that initial magazine just recently in December. I think it got published.
Oh, very nice. That's great. It's great to hear how corporate encourages it and wants you to grow it. And I love your passion about it, because when doctors are passionate about something, it just grows. It just explodes. So you're able to set your own fees there. It's all self-pay, correct?
Absolutely. In Walmart, I have my private clinic in Walmart. That's how it is. It's no different than, my, thank goodness I'm opening a new office. I am in my new office, which is going to be a private office in a different location, just because, a lot of doctors that are not doing myopia control, they're referring me patients for myopia control. So I'm just opening a second location for the convenience of the patients, because I'm based in Miami and I get a lot of referrals from Broward, which is like 35 minutes away. So a lot of the patients, they just don't want to drive that far.
And you're still seeing your regular patients every year, medical model, routine, whatever you want to do there.
Definitely. So I think it is important to, when you are doing this in a corporate setting, we have to keep in mind that Walmart is there to do business as well as we are. Walmart is great. They do not tell me how to schedule my patients. They don't tell me what fees I need to charge. I mean, they do not interfere. I pay my rent at the end of the month, and what I do, how many days I work, how I see my patients, it's up to me. But you do have to keep in mind, we want to have a good partnership. We want them to do well so that we continue to do well. So, when I schedule my patients, I look at my schedule and I try to schedule my myopia control patients on the slots that I know is going to be slow traditionally for my comprehensive exams.
Great.
I schedule them either at the beginning of the schedule. So if I start at 10, I'll have my ortho-K follow-up at 9 o'clock. So it doesn't interfere with my regular flow of patients. Or I try to have them at the end of the day, because we know that our myopia control patients are going to take a little bit longer. And, they're not going to be purchasing glasses per se. So you have to be conscientious and be a good business partner, and keep that in mind. So it works. The relationship works for both. If I was just doing 100% myopia control, then that wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't work out for Walmart. So, so I think that as long as you have an open and honest communication with your management, with corporate, and you are upfront with them, and tell them, like, I just went to them and I said, look, I'm going to do this. And they are always 100%. Did I lose you? I'm sorry. I was getting.
So yeah, they're open to it. I mean, I think you gave some good points there, that you want to do it. They know about it. You communicated with it, but you also kind of did it at a scheduled time where it doesn't really interfere with like busy time, right? Because it does take a little longer. But you're also serving patients. But you're also building trust within the community, referrals there that benefit the optical, and patient retention to kind of get more patients to stay there. Because if patients stay there, sooner or later they're going to buy glasses. In my myopia control, they're not done with glasses. They're not done with they're going to continue.
Right.
And then they're bringing family in, right? Because it's usually younger kids.
It is. Once you do myopia control, let me tell you, even just you mention it to the patients, they appreciate you so much. And that puts you already, even if you're not doing it yourself, but the fact that you bring it up and you educate the parents, they are like, oh my God, like, what is this? Nobody ever told me that before. And now all of a sudden you are the best doctor because you told them something that nobody mentioned before. And, they really appreciate that. So even if you're not doing it, like I have a lot of OD friends, colleagues that they talk to the patient, they're like, I don't want to do it, it doesn't work for me, but they're sending the patient over. And those patients, when they come over to see me, they are so grateful to, that OD that referred them to me. And, they're like, thank goodness, the Dr. Joseph told me this, because nobody had ever mentioned it before. And the number one question I get is, how come nobody told me about this before? And I'm like, well, I'm so glad you're here now. Let's talk about today.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can't go away from myopia control. It is the future. And
It is. It is the future, and I think there's a lot more interest in it than what it's been in the past. So a lot of these videos that I've done with other doctors, they get a lot of views. So I think it's great. How have you incorporated? Like, did you go right into it? Baby steps? How can someone that wants to do it in a corporate practice, how can they implement it?
so I do everything. So I think one of the things that is important to differentiate is myopia control versus ortho K. So
Okay.
at the beginning, I was doing ortho K just because that was what my patient, wanted to do. But the more ortho K I did, I realized that there was a percentage of my patients that was being underserved because maybe they couldn't afford ortho K or they were not a good candidate for ortho K. So I was like, oh my God, I feel terrible. I'm like, what about these kids that are not a good fit for ortho K? So that's when I really, immersed myself into learning more and studying about atropine so that I could start doing atropine because I felt that, there was this good percentage of patients that would do great with atropine. So when I started doing atropine is when I started promoting myself. Okay, I am a myopia control expert because I think it is important to use all the tools that we have available out there so that we can really capture, and be able to help all the patients because not everyone is going to be a great candidate for atropine. Not everyone is going to be great for ortho-K, and not everyone is going to be good for soft lenses. So I think it's really important that when we say we're doing myopia management, that we are utilizing all the different treatment options that are available out there so we can better service our patients and not leave any patients behind.
Yeah. What is your follow-up schedule on these patients? Is it every 3 months, 6 months, or does it vary by patient? How
It
does it work?
really, when it comes to ortho K, it really varies by patients. It depends on the patient's prescriptions. I do a lot of out of range ortho K. So I have most of my patients, unfortunately, are over -7. So I do -8, -9, -10. So those patients in the beginning stage, I am going to see them a little bit more frequently because I have to refract them every couple days to be able to, give them soft lenses they can wear during the day so they can be comfortable. Whereas if someone is a -1 and I start them on ortho K, I'm gonna see them the morning after, and then I don't see them until 10 days or 2 weeks. With atropine, I see them the initial visit, the consultation, and then I bring them back after 6 weeks, and then after 3 months after that. And with soft lenses, the soft multifocal dual-focal lenses, I am seeing them at the initial fit, then I see them again in 6 weeks, and then after 6 months. So
Okay.
I found that modality is best for patients who are highly motivated. The parents want to do it, but they just don't have the time. So, the way I came out to that was I started this girl in ortho K. She was enthusiastic about ortho K. Father wanted her to do ortho K, but the mother was the one that had to bring her to the follow-ups. And the mother was like, I don't have time to do this. I can't be here every 2 weeks. So she was like, is there anything else you can do? So then when I told her about the dual focal lenses, she was excited, and that worked out, best for that family. So I think that's important that we keep in mind that when we're doing myopia control, we have to keep in mind the whole family because it's a whole team effort. It's the doctor, the patient, and the parents. And then those kids usually have siblings. So it's, you have to take into considerations everybody's schedule.
Yeah. When I talked to Dr. Rue a couple of weeks ago, and she recommended like using telemedicine for like education with the both parents together, and I thought that was a good point for that discussion. When now at Walmart, you sell the Ortho K lenses, right? And the other, okay, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay, and they're fine. Are you fitting my site yet, or no?
I am.
Oh, awesome.
I
I mean, I'm new to it. So again, I'm no expert at any means. I'm new to it, but for me, it's been easy way to get into myopia management with the lens.
think it is. If you are in a private setting and you're able to get your certification and get it done, like, ortho K is a little bit intimidated if you're not into specialty contacts, and that's okay. But I mean, we still have these two great options, you know, which are the MySite and atropine that, you know, you can do that and serve most of your patients. You know, ortho-K, there is a select group of patients that would prefer that. Like I have a patient who is in a team of water polo, so ortho-K is amazing for him, but you can definitely start a myopia control practice doing atropine and doing, you know, using MySite.
So my site is through this practice, or is it through the other practice that you opened?
Through my new practice that I opened.
Okay, yeah, cool. I just to understand that. And then when you set your fees, you do it via chair cost. I mean, and you make sure you're pretty standard up there for your follow visits and things like that, correct?
Yeah, so I do so before I started doing myopia control in my practice, I went to a Vision by Design conference. And, you know, I had already been doing myopia control in my job in New York. So when I went there and I was like, yeah, I'm in Walmart and I'm going to start doing this, you know, I got a lot of like question and almost like a negative pushback. They were like, oh, you know, like you're going to devalue, like how much are you going to charge? And it was a lot of skepticism on from other colleagues. And I was like, but you know, I don't understand. Like, if we do this, like, why would we don't tell a glaucoma patient, if you have an OCT, we're not going to do an OCT in Walmart. You know, a lot of Walmart doctors have OCTs and have visual fields and manage a glaucoma. So this is no different to me. If you are willing to make the investment and you want to learn the skill and you want to do it, I'm like, why not? So it worked out really well. I do, and keeping that in mind, because I came from a very high-end practice in New York, in New York, the fees for ortho-K are actually a lot higher than in Florida. I actually have, when I, you know, asked my colleagues are doing myopia control, my prices are pretty up there. You know, they're like what for anyone who's doing ortho-K. They're not lower because I'm in Walmart.
That's right. And you do it on your expertise and your value and your time, of course.
I value
And
time, and you know, I charge according to that. I charge for the whole program, so I don't charge per visit. So I have a year program. I have 3 different levels of ortho-K based on the complexity of the case, not necessarily on prescription alone. Prescription does play a part, but you know, you have to take other things into consideration when you're setting up your prices. So I have 3 levels of fees for ortho-K. I have an annual program for atropine, as well as an annual program for MySite.
good, good. Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate, and that some colleagues still have that perception in the industry. And when I go to conferences with different things, I've seen it, and I've been on some advisory boards for certain companies, and we're sitting there having breakfast, and still kind of get that, you know, image or perception, and it's pretty insulting. Number one, but number two, they just don't know. I mean, just to bring the industry forward and work together better for the patient. And again, it's never the 4 walls that we practice in, it's usually the doctor. So, you know, I wanted to have this Facebook Live with you because you're doing all this and you're getting a lot of your colleagues to refer to you for it, and you're helping these kids or these young adults for future, so they don't have retinal detachments, they don't have maculopathy, they don't have all this stuff. You know, it's preventative care, and you're seeing these people every few weeks, every month, and you're building a rapport, and they're going to follow you no matter where you go. Whether you know, it's great that Walmart has, promoted this and said, do your thing, doc. You love it. It's your passion. You do it.
They do. They have been amazing to me, you know, and like I said, they are exceptional in the way that they do not interfere on how we practice. So
have you found that, like, working in a corporate setting, because like overhead's like a little lower, like it's easier to initiate equipment and patient volume and things like that?
absolutely. I mean, I came back from New York. I, you know, walked in Walmart with my little laptop and my license. And
Yeah.
I went in, my first day of work, and I said, okay, let me see, and go little by little. And that's how I did. I mean, I think I must have spent like maybe $500 on getting some office supplies, and that was it. It is minimal investment, and when you are, that's the advantage of studying in a corporate setting, is that you have that constant flow of patients. You have the traffic that you're not gonna get in a cold, if you open a cold practice.
Yeah, and they're getting Walmart's also getting patients that they would never get there before because they're that specialty, right? And you're scheduling it where you're doing it when it's doesn't interfere with peak time per se, right? But it also because routine eye exams, people need to say you're still making money off routine eye exams and building a. Right? 90% of your patients want routine stuff, guys. We all learned this during the pandemic when we shut down. I mean, we still do it, but you're also respectful of, Walmart's business and things like that, which is good big picture stuff because unfortunately a lot of doctors don't see it that way.
Right. No, and like I said in the beginning, I think that's very important to keep in mind that you have to be good business partners. And what you said before, when I have an ortho-K patient, a myopia control patient, now all of a sudden to this family, I am just, and not just me, but I think anyone who does myopia control, the best doctor in the world. And then they want to bring you every single person in their family from out of the country. So I get patients that want to bring me their cousins from India because they have advanced glaucoma. I'm like, that's not my specialty.
You're like, I'm very honored, but that's not me. Sorry.
So I'm like, well, no, but I still want you to see them. And then they trust me. So I tell them, very politely and gracefully. I said, well, thank you very much. I'm very flattered, but that's not what I do. So they're like, I want you to see them. And then you can send them to the best specialist you think. So, so I still do that. So I have people driving 5 hours, one of my ortho-K patients, they wanted me to see their uncle. And I said, I don't do that. But they're like, no, we're going to drive 5 hours because we want you to see him. And then once you see him, you can guide us and tell us where to go.
So they trust you. They trust you.
So, it's touching, like, oh my God, like I get, goosebumps because that's just how it is. So I do see maybe one patient that is doing myopia control, but then Walmart gets the whole family,
They get the whole family. They get brand recognition. They get a bunch of stuff. It's good all over, right? So it's not just about, let's say, the numbers, bottom line. There's a lot of other things. And, I think you're doing great stuff, Doc. I wanted to kind of highlight you on this and kind of debunk those myths out there on that or corporate ODs just don't refract and kind of doing what you love and still building a business, because even other doctors in private practice that do myopia management, they're still doing routine stuff, they're still making money and doing other things.
Right.
You're just incorporating a new thing and what you want to do. And I think, again, this is the future, and this is kind of like a way to build your patient base and kind of get new young blood in there, right? So
definitely, yes. Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so happy, grateful, and humbled to be here and share my experience with other ODs, and hopefully, somebody will watch this and start their myopia practice in their Walmart.
All right. I want to thank you so much for coming on. And if anyone has any questions, I'll put her information in the thread, and feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for watching.